should have more copies, but to supplement my application, I have the building inspection report on the purchase. I hand this.
Yeah, you take it. Thank you. You're Stephanie?
No, I'm Noelle Long, I'm the attorney.
Oh, you're attorney. Okay, so Noelle.
You said Long, L-O-N-G?
Yes.
Call out the numbers there, Dan, so we can.
Okay, just a minute here. Okay, so we don't, the number here, I gotta get the assessment on that. Okay. For the purchase price. Purchase price of property was $337,500.
I'm sorry, purchase price, that's what she wants?
No, that's the purchase price, that's what she paid for the property, or they paid for the property.
When was that? That was last year.
$337,500.
What, when?
On 1/21/21, on January 21st, 21.
What's the address?
6 Berkshire Drive West, Clifton Park. The value is, the property is assessed value of the property is $189,800.
189,800.
800, right. And
$189,800 is the current assessment,
yes,
so the current market value.
yeah, the complainant believes that the assessment should be reduced to the full value of $317,500.
What?
$317,500.
Can't be reduced, can I see the paperwork, please?
Yeah. Just a second. So that's what you're looking at, to reduce that from that
I think what she wants to do is have the assessment lowered.
lower. Yes, exactly. Based on 317 rather than.
Yeah, there was a $20,000 seller's concession, so the net to the seller was $317,500, which is where that came from.
Can I see? Sorry, Dan.
Go ahead.
So what are they asking, by educate, what are they asking for the new assessment to be?
51% of 317. I think that is right.
Yeah,
317 is full market value.
so the reason it's hard to read the numbers is because you check the box for excessive assessment instead of unequal assessment. So that's why you're stumbling, Dan, is because the numbers we would want would be up here.
Yeah.
The numbers we would want would be up here. Excessive assessment would mean that it's assessed for higher than the market value, which it's obviously not because it's assessed for 189,800.
Yeah, you're saying it should be assessed for 161,700. Is that what you're asking?
Is that the 51% of 317?
Yes.
Yes, sorry.
Okay, so hold on. So 317 is my favorite part of quarter 7 years. Checking the other box. Okay, so it should be 161,900.
Yeah, 161,700. 160.
Wait, how'd you get that?
51% of the 317.
317,500.
Oh, 500. Okay.
317,500 times 0.51 is 161,925. Is the form here for you to act on behalf of the?
Yes.
Okay. Walter, can I ask her to check this box? I know you gave me a hard time last year.
No.
She needs to check the right box, right? Can you come up here and check the other box?
Sorry about that.
No problem.
I do have real estate. and I love
So
this.
this section, excessive assessment, means we would be comparing these two numbers and saying that this number
not 51%.
is less than this. This doesn't even consider the 51%. I know it's confusing, but it's a state farm agriculture. So you need to check this box up here. So you want to check, the assessment is unequal. The assessed value is a higher percentage than the assessed value of the real property assessment roll. So you want to check that one first.
And just part 4.
4 bedroom. And then you can check it all. That doesn't matter. This is just what we can evaluate.
Okay.
So the value of the property from page 1. So here you want to write in, I believe 317,500. Is that what it says? And then below that, what does that one say?
Then believes the assessment should be reduced to, what's the 161?
That's the 161,925.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
You swear to him?
Huh?
You swear.
Yeah, but well, you gotta give me a chance to swear in that.
You're the one who got started here.
Something where-
Oh, dear.
Now, we gotta ask you, I gotta swear you in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the information you're about to give will be given accurately, truthfully, and to the best of your ability to do so?
I do.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I guess what we determined is that the purchase price was $317,500, and she had a $20,000 seller's concession?
Correct.
What was that? What's,
Just cover closing costs.
okay, so it's, the seller picked up the closing costs, is what you said.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I also provided in this packet, the appraisal. And now I understand the appraisal is higher than the appraisal came out at 349,000. It was not an inspection with the appraisal, so, the inspection revealed multiple deficiencies, which I just got my hands on yesterday, including mold, pest infestation with pest droppings, and, you know, they brought the value of the house down to the 317,500, and my clients actively negotiated that price with the owner's son. This is a case where one of the owners died and the other owner sold, but was not living there and sold the property.
Now, was it on the market a long time, or was it?
According to these reports, they don't know how long it was on the market. I happen to live next door. So it was on for a while. It wasn't like it went on and went on.
A year? Or-
No, I would say a month, 2 months. I mean, the houses in that neighborhood go real quick. It's definitely in the appraisal report mentions that the demand exceeds supply. So it's a definite seller's market in the neighborhood.
So is a $20,000 concession, is that in a seller's market, is that usually common?
No, not in a seller's market, but that's why this house just wasn't valued the
So-
same as the rest of them. It's
So,
not-
so the house, they bought it for less than what normally would have been fair market value?
No, they bought it, the fair market value was the negotiated net to the seller.
Well, I mean, but if the house had been in excellent condition, what do you think it might have gone for?
If it was in excellent condition, updated, there's no updates in this house. And without these deficiencies, it probably would have gone in the high threes.
So like 380, 390? And you say you live next door?
Yeah.
And what would you sell your house for?
My house has a lot of wear and tear from 2 boys in it,
Now,
so,
you think it,
but I've updated it.
you think 390 would have been a fair price?
I would never have paid my house that much. It just,
That's worth more than think, probably.
yeah.
It's a seller's market. So it could be worth 380, 390.
Right, but as a seller's market, I mean, this was the best offer they had.
Mhm.
So it's just the house.
So I realized that the house was probably a little bit of a stress, but with a little bit of investment on their part, they clean the droppings out, they paint, they take care of the mold.
Rot.
They can take the house from 317 up to 390 pretty easily and have one heck of a good deal on what happened in their summer.
The appraiser had to the 349, so I'm, rely on that.
Well,
appraiser's
but the question is, again, is what would the house be worth if it was in a fair condition, good condition? But like your house and your neighbor's houses. I mean, for example, if you're paying, say, if your house is worth 390, but the house next door is in rough shape and it's selling for 320, but that's not really what the value of the house would be because it's the same shape as your house and it's just a little bit poor condition. So if you do the improvements, then is it fair to make the argument that that house would then increase in value up to 390, but they would still be assessed at that lower rate of
I mean,
320?
if
You
you're
assess it at the value it is at the date it's sold.
I know that, but
that's
that is true. But what you're looking at here is a possible distress sale, which means the house is being undervalued. But that's my point. What I'm trying to make here is that it's a distress.
And we can debate it after, but keep in mind, the assessment rolls only have it at 372.
Mhm.
So 372 to 350 is not.
Well, 372 down to 317 is a sizable.
317 is, but she just mentioned the 350, which was the bank. The bank said it was worth 350.
349.
349, yeah. So they said 349, and then the infestation and the yada, yada, yada,
That is
317.
And again, that is true. Those are factors that need to be taken into the
Yeah.
price.
I'm with you. just didn't want you trying to convince her house was worth like $450.
No,
Oh my God, what,
I,
You got kids going to college.
Even Walter doesn't say it's worth $450.
I don't know if my point I was making was not clear, or if it was.
No, you're right. And when a house has lower interior quality and hasn't been kept up, then the house will sell for less. And that's the classic problem with this whole, with the what you paid for it situation.
Right,
is
and
If
that's
she
not a-
fixes up her
that's
house,
not
but her
a
next door
factor.
neighbor doesn't, then they sell for different prices, even though they're assessed the same.
And they don't have to fix it.
And that's not a factor we can consider. Value of the house.
Right. Yeah. I'm with you there.
Thanks, man, I appreciate that.
I fully
We're
support
all
all
on
of
the
it.
same page. Have you anything else you'd like to say?
No, I'll rely on the documents.
Okay, so we'll discuss it with you.
Yeah, I can give you another copy of the inspection and I'll get questions on
Okay,
that.
fine.
I should have brought mine, I apologize.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
No, wait.
Well, you want to say something to him on his house?
What's that?
In front of our,
You guys ready?
yep, sure.
Yeah, I'm somewhat familiar with the house. I've discussed it with Ms. Long before. This house, I knew the owner. Mr. Hazlitt was the owner, the older gentleman. He didn't live in the house. His wife lived in the house. She died not too long ago, and then the house, basically, he put it on the market and sold it. So I didn't consider this an arm's length sale. I have a transfer report that was filed when the deed was filed. No mention of concessions was put on the transfer report at the closing. So I wasn't aware that it was $20,000 worth of concessions.
I didn't do those.
But she did the transfer report, so, but like I said, Mr. Hazlitt, I know, owned the house, didn't live there. His wife lived there, they were separated legally. And then she up and died, so he sold the house. I ran comparable sales of this house and easily found current sales ranging from $350 to $400, which is roughly $156 a square foot, making the value of this house $365, in the range of $365 to $370 without too much trouble. I ran for you to look at two comparable assessment sheets showing that, and by the way, I reduced this house to the 189.8 this year. So I lowered it $30,000 already in assessed value this year, because I knew it wasn't worth.
What did you reduce it from?
It was up in the 200s. 219, right around 220 is what's assessed originally. So I already reduced it once. The one question I had, I wasn't sure, you don't know exactly if this thing was on the market or on,
It was on the market, there were signs up.
oh,
Set
it
for
was?
sale
'Cause I
by
could
owner.
not find anything on the web that this, under any real estate company that this was out.
No, I had a hard time finding it too, but I
And
just
the
don't.
purchase contract looks like a private contract, doesn't look like a contract from a real estate firm or from anything. So it looks like almost like a private sale. That's another reason why I don't consider it arm's length. Too many circumstances, pressure on one side or the other, mostly the seller. He lived somewhere else, had another house. His wife died, didn't really need the house, and I'm sure it does need some updating. That's pretty typical, but I don't make any concessions for updating. These people update their houses and I don't know about it because they don't get permits. There's no way I would know. So these you can review.
Anything else?
I don't know that we can assume duress on part of the seller. He has adult sons who are businessmen who negotiated this contract. And he was living in an apartment just like he always has been. So it wasn't, I don't think, a burden to him. So his two adult sons are taking care of the place. And they would only stand and maximize the sale price.
So how long was the house vacant, do you think?
She died in June of 2020. And then they purchased it in January.
6 months. 5.5, 6 months.
And when the end of their inspections were in December.
So you reduced it from what to what?
Approximately 220 to 189.
So roughly.
So ultimately, that reduction was due to your thought being house.
Basically, the neighborhood, again, another older wood-sided home, they're not selling as strong as the newer homes and whatnot.
So if it was 220, you say that then the 431,000, and then 189 is 37. Okay, yeah. I can see that. So 370 would seem like a fair price for a house in that neighborhood.
Yeah, I have found a lot of sales in that range. And we don't make adjustments for cosmetic changes, maintenance, roof, siding, we just don't, can't begin to make assessment adjustments for those things. But normally people are gonna fix it up, once they buy it, they're gonna go in and fix it.
You don't have to pull a permit for the
They
infestation
don't
type
have to
stuff
pull
or any of that.
permits to do anything.
Anything unique about the house? They got like finished basements or pool? Or,
Nothing,
I don't
no,
know.
not that I'm aware of.
Basement's not finished.
I could not find this out on the web anywhere for sale. And normally when something's in multiple listings or with a realtor, it's always out there.
The buyers found out about it because they were looking at another house with a realtor and in the same neighborhood, and the owner of that house told them to look at this one. Like I said, and they were signed on the lawn with a phone number.
Anybody else have any questions for either? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. Thank you.